Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you like this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below, your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly for purchase and pricing, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. And today, we're examining the most discussed watch of 2019, the Audemars Piguet Code 11.59, in this instance, the flyback chronograph, a timepiece 41 millimeters in white gold. It features a relatively slender profile of 12.8 millimeters and from lug to lug 50.1 millimeters with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference. You can see it wears quite easily. The lugs are actually quite short, stubby, and tightly curved, so it doesn't offend, even though my wrist is probably borderline sized for it. I'd say you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference because it does have a lot of physical form, though it's not particularly thick, and you can easily see how it would slide underneath a tighter cuff. There's your down the barrel shot. There's your over the top. Taking a look at the strap, it is substantial. The watch has a broad stance of 22 millimeters on the wrist, so though a large watch for a dress timepiece, it does have that broad proportional footing. You can also see that it uses hexagonal screws, a reference to the Royal Oak, and bars rather than spring bars to fix the strap to the case. That's the more expensive and frankly more secure way of building a watch. Bars and screws for fixing a strap. AP did that the right way. The strap is bolstered to give it some volume and thickness. It's not quite navy blue, it's lighter than that. I'd say more like a cobalt blue. It is a semi-gloss with a folded edge, a monotone stitch, and you can see on the bottom it is double alligator like high-end watches increasingly are these days. FP Journe started this trend generally, and with small round scale gator on the bottom and large scale gator on the top, you create a more expensive but longer lasting and more durable strap. A custom buckle, as you can see, created for this series. It features a combination of polished bevels and satin finished. It's white gold like the case. And the case is a remarkably nuanced and three-dimensional prismatic thing. This watch was somewhat handicapped by an Audemars Piguet launch campaign that mostly just depicted it like this online, which makes it look, well, flat and featureless. From this angle, though, you can see au contraire. Now, the timepiece includes a lovely hairline bevel on the lugs, the screws and bars, and again, that's hexagonal screw, a reference to the screws on the bezel of the Royal Oak. Satin finish on these evacuated, skeletonized lugs. You can see that there's an inset mid-case. It's actually backed off from the case back in the bezel lip, and then it features polished bevels at its top and its bottom with a satin-finished mid-case. And note that the mid-case is slightly faceted. It is a rounded octagon, again, a reference to the Royal Oak, but one that is subtle and easily missed. It's not didactic. The timepiece features lovely extended lozenge-style chronograph pushers, and look at the beauty of the detail, the delicacy of those bevels that run all the way around the pusher. It's the same as the bevel that you see on the edge of the lugs. Now, of course, the bezel has a polished lip. It's really a very minimal bezel when viewed from head on, more of a silver halo framing the dial. And this is the problem. These dials did not photograph well. You can see from this angle that with the tachometer raised above, the dial actually has excellent depth. The tachometer above, then you have the hands, the indices, recesses for the sub-registers, and an applique Audemars Piguet logo in white gold. The hands are white gold, the logo is white gold, the indices, the numeral, all white gold to prevent oxidation and tarnish over time. The hands have a quality that wasn't picked up in the press photos, which is that they're three-dimensional and vaulted. This is the kind of quality you expect from a high-end independent watchmaker. It is not necessarily something you expect from a mainstream brand like Audemars Piguet. So the attention to detail creating three-dimensional vaulted hands speaks to the love that went into this design. Now, there are sunken registers in a slightly different blue tone. This is a lacquered blue dial with wonderful quality, no ridging, no rippling, no orange peel, very smooth. The date wheel in good taste is blue to match the dial. And then you can see that the timepiece has a tachometer outboard that you can use with the chronograph to gauge, for example, the speed of a car over a kilometer. It's base 1000. Polished chapter rings nicely accent each of the sub-registers. And note the calculated asymmetry as the chronograph registers are larger, constant seconds a little bit smaller down at 6 o'clock because it's less important. Now, the Code 11.59 was a debut platform for the new generation 4401 chronograph movement, and you can see it comes standard as a flyback chronograph. Reset and restart with the pusher down at 4 o'clock without first having to stop. The watch also includes hacking or stop seconds, and there is a quick set system for the date, so you can roll through that easily. The crown is unique to the model, handsome, distinctive, and a pleasure to use. Turn it all over, and you can see that the watch is quite nicely made. First of all, the rotor is particularly handsome. We talk a lot about interior angles today in the watch hobby, and you can see there are quite a few sharp clefts, hand-finished where beveled edges meet. So the rotor itself is a handsome hand-finished piece that launched on this watch and looks equal to the price and billing of the timepiece. The watch uses both a column wheel and a vertical clutch, so you can see when I engage the chronograph seconds hand, there is no jump or stagger. It starts without any jump, and that is a quality distinctive of instant engagement vertical clutches. Another quality of the vertical clutch is that you can just leave it engaged full time without any hazard, extra wear and tear to the movement. You can just leave a vertical clutch engaged if you prefer to have your minutes, hours, and seconds at center. Just ignore the chronograph register. Now, turn it over once more, and you can see that the column wheel is visible. The finishing is handsome, if admittedly a combination of manual and automated finishing, as is typical of AP movements these days, but it's very robustly built, properly thick to take shock. It is a sports watch movement first and foremost. It beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and you can see that a free-sprung balance and a full balance bridge has been introduced, so this is going to allow for better shock tolerance. The movement pivots on 40 joules, and it has a 70-hour automatic winding power reserve. As with modern AP calibers, you can see that the movement is a bidirectional winder for smoothness, so it doesn't have that freewheel that folks associate with a 7750. It pivots on a rotor bearing for better shock tolerance and uses ceramic bearings, or I should say hybrid ceramic bearings. The actual balls themselves are ceramic, to reduce maintenance requirements and improve efficiency. 30 meters water resistant, so it's more a sporty watch than a sports watch, but a gorgeous timepiece that's badly misunderstood. A watch for which the attention to detail almost never ends. From the dial, which costs a lot more than its initial impression online, to the sapphire, which features a remarkable dihedral, or a dip from its edges to a sort of trough in the center. It curves from top to bottom, but then it also curves from side to side. This watch is like that, full of surprises, surprise and delight. Surprises. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.